500 Doors, your real estate podcast. Speaking with industry experts in real estate buying, selling, planning, developing, wholesaling, investing, financing, management. If it's real estate, we're talking about it. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, an award-winning 6- and 7-figure real estate agent with over 2 decades of experience. Understanding real estate is a dream for many, that we, real estate professionals, have the ability to bring that dream to reality while building better communities and being the change we want to see. Denise is a coach, speaker, marketing strategist, realtor, and author of the new book, Out of the Box. She has been able to truly go, and I love this phrase, from broken to barrier breaker. And we're going to ask her more about that. Denise has been a licensed realtor since 2012. She and her husband have sold over 650 homes in that short time. She has a heart for those walking through divorce because she has become a certified divorce real estate agent and family law mediator. Denise has used the power of storytelling to have her adult life chronicled and documented through the years on Oprah, 2 appearances. If you don't know who Oprah is, we need to talk. Steve Harvey, and this is the one I've got to ask about because I love Steve Harvey, 2 appearances. Rachel Ray, CBS The Talk, House Hunters on HGTV, 4 exclusive episodes, and season 20 of The Worst Cooks in America on Food Network. And if you know me at all, and you know my love of the kitchen, you know why I giggle. But most recently, she was named one of the hosts for an Emmy-nominated show called The American Dream. She has an art for tapping into the power of media and TV appearances to gain local recognition, branding, and a fast climb to success, which in this market and so many people shifting through the pandemic, the market shifts, everything that's going on, everything is fluid. And understanding that fast climb and how to gain recognition is critical. Welcome to the show, Denise.
I'm so excited to be here.
If you haven't had a chance, folks, you've got to go check out she sent me this incredible picture of her on steps, sitting on steps in front of some big building with beautiful wrought iron in this killer red dress that looks almost like a flamingo dance type of dress. It's beautiful.
It's all
with
about
red
the
flower.
ruffles.
It's all about the ruffles. Okay, so you are definitely a more is more kind of gal, which I love because if I was
Yes.
less is more, I'd have not the pink hair. Let's start with, I would like to start this off and turn the stage over to you because you are the star here. And I would love for you to walk me through who is Denise, not what you do in the sale of the house, but what creates that unique Denise that has helped you rocket to the top and gain attention where many people wish they could. So floor is yours, my dear.
I think from the beginning, I had a childhood that was a little bit different. And I was abandoned by my biological father after he had been pretty abusive and had actually not intended to throw something at me to injure me, but it hit me and cracked my skull open where I had a craniotomy. So I've had lifelong headaches as a result of this injury and not a great relationship. Feeling abandoned as a child. But my mother then remarried my stepfather, who, that sounds so categorically wrong, calling him my stepfather. He is my father. He's raised me, gave me a beautiful life to fly, and has been supportive in all the things I've done performative in my life, and has really helped me feel loved. So basically, I grew up and I knew that I really wanted to get out of my small town. I wanted to move to New York City, but I was on this like really cheap beer budget. And so with the champagne taste, I ended up in the big city of Oklahoma City. Still a lot more opportunities than my little Blackwell, Oklahoma. So I was happy to move here, and I got married young and had 2 beautiful children. I kind of found myself in a relationship that was more toxic and dysfunctional, and I really needed to move forward in my life. We were married almost 10 years, and I became this kind of watered down, censored version of myself that was really unrecognizable. I had worked in property management for a couple of years, and that is like leasing apartments and condos. And I had a manager that came to me and said, "We really don't want to lose you, Denise, but I see something in you." And the seed began to just, you know, it was very deep in my soul that I never ever got away from this person seeing something in me and believing in me in a way that I hadn't ever had before. I remember shortly after going home to my friends and family and saying, "I want to get my real estate license." And I was met with friends and family saying, "Well, why would you want to do that? That would be an expensive hobby. You could never make it. You could never stand out." I heard, "Why would we line the garage walls with superficial signs with your face on them with literally no yard to stake?" So, what happened was I suppressed that dream. It never died, but I kind of developed this PhD in suppressing dreams and visions and things that I wanted to do with my gifts and talents, because I was in a place where, unfortunately, my goal was to just try to make everyone around me happy and create this peaceful environment. And, at that time, that wasn't tending to my needs and my dreams. So I just really became this person that I didn't like, didn't recognize. And I started having this soundtrack in my head that was really difficult. It was, you're not worthy. You're not valuable. You don't have what it takes. You're not loved. You're simply not enough. And it was just on replay. And I began to believe it. I began to completely internalize it. And I realized I need to move forward out of this relationship so that I can be the best me and the best mother for my kids that I can be. And so that was a decision that I knew that I had to make, but it was incredibly difficult. So I had seen an advertisement on TV, and it was for a reproductive center in Oklahoma City. And I was offered $1,500 to donate my eggs. And I haven't talked about this a lot in my past, but I thought this would be enough from a stay-at-home mom that really doesn't have any resources to have a little bit of a nest egg account so that I could try to move forward in my life. So I did that. I remember giving myself injections 3 times a day for about 8 weeks. I was swollen, I was bruised, I was a hormonal absolute basket case nightmare, and this was all hidden. So I did that to save some money, and I ended up getting out of the relationship that I was in. I started ensuing a $50,000 custody battle. So this was an incredibly dark time in my life because I remember feeling like I could barely put my feet on the floor, like I had an elephant on my back just to put Pop-Tarts in the toaster for my kids. I remember not getting out of scrubs and pajamas for a couple of months, which, if you know me, the dress, the ruffles, the heels, my mom said I broke her water coming out in heels. I'm a person that's put together daily. And so I was in a really dark place. At the same time this was going on in my life, my mother was 49 and I just turned 50 on Friday. So we were about the same age. She was misdiagnosed with a hernia. She actually, once we figured out she's not getting better, they went in and did exploratory surgery. They found there was a tumor. It was encapsulated, and the surgeon said, "We got it all. She doesn't even have to do preventative chemo." We find out after she's in the hospital 2 weeks and not getting better and just emaciating. Um, she was dying, withering away right in front of us, that the doctor was actually in a hurry to get to a college football game and left perforations all throughout her colon. So she was meta-flighted to Oklahoma City. And the surgeon, I remember coming out, and I was sitting on these cold chairs in the waiting room. And I remember thinking, I'm waiting on this man to come out and tell us the fate of my mother. And I just wanted him to walk through the doors and just be this hero that was going to save her. And he came out the door and he said he mutilated her. He mutilated this little girl. Those were his words. And she was gone a few months later, very shortly after she turned 50. So this year has been a little triggering for me because I know that her death sentence is not mine, but emotionally, I had just thought I lost her when I was 29 years old, and it was a paradigm shift in my life because you know how people say, live like you're dying, don't take, today for granted. If you think it, say it. Um, I I internalized that in a way that I felt like if I only have till I'm 50 to live, think about all the things I have to do, and I haven't even begun. I haven't even stepped into my calling. So after about 2 years of intense therapy, I remember walking into Kathy and I said, "I'm here. I show up. That's what I do. But you can't crack me and I can't be fixed. I'm too broken. But I'm here. I'll sit in the chair." And I remember several sessions and finally my walls began to break down and she said, "We're going to rewire you. We're going to reprogram you. We're going to rebuild you." And I remember saying, "I don't want to just be rebuilt. I want to be forward tough because I don't ever want to be in this situation again where I feel like I'm spilled out on the floor. I don't even know who I am." And after those 2 years of therapy, she helped create and recognize this warrior in me. I'll skip past a lot of details and other dating relationships in between. And I was working at a high school as an admin assistant for the principals in this suburb of Oklahoma City. In walks my FedEx guy. Sexiest legs you've ever seen. This, I call it a Julia Roberts 1,000-watt smile because it just lit up the room. I saw him every day for 5 years before our first date. Wasn't in a place to date, wasn't ready emotionally. I think when we first met, like maybe he was dating someone, he was single for 7 years. And I can remember thinking, wow, I'm at a place where I had committed to not letting the unhealed parts of me break other people. And after I had gone through everything that I had gone through, with losing my mom and a failed marriage and such an acrimonious process of just dealing with the custody battle, I I knew that I wanted to spend my life devoting to making others feel less broken too. And by that, I had to dig deep and show my dips and show the grit and be vulnerable with my story. And so Troy and I had our first date, and I was in a really healthy place in my life, which was great. And we knew after our first date, or really I do, I was like that how to lose a guy in 10 days girl that comes in after the first date with a picture of us and a house plant. And I'm like, will you put our picture on your shelf? That was my test of, can we be exclusive? Because I felt like God had prepared my heart for him. Like there's this show or this song, and it's called Loved You for 1,000 Years. That's what I felt like. He was home to me. Well, we quit our jobs. After we got married, we blended 5 teenagers. I can't forget that part because it was an absolute circus. And we blended 5 teenagers, quit our jobs on the same day, and became self employed. Um, 13 years ago, we've been in real estate 10 years. So it took us a little bit to arrive at doing real estate together. So it was not easy. And we didn't even sell a house for 7 months. So once he said, "Let's get our real estate license," can you imagine my reaction? It was like, ah, the angels were singing. And I just knew, I told him, I said, "Look, we have 7 mouths to feed. So, number one, failure is not an option, but I've waited 2 decades to step into my calling. We are going to pave our own way. It's our own lane. I don't want to be normal. There's in my market right now, I think in my state, there's 13,000 agents. In my immediate market, there was 10,000 during COVID. Now I think there's 7,000. It's it's very saturated. But at the time, I just said, we're going to be creative innovative, authentic, and we're going to walk in a way that we stand out. And I know God's going to bless us because I know He wouldn't have had me wait 2 decades to flop. But with that, we had to create systems before creativity. We created systems, and we wanted to give the most killer customer service where your clients can never imagine it being any better. And that was our commitment, was loving and serving people. Selling homes was just a byproduct of what we were really doing, which was loving and serving people. I believe that God truly uses our failures and our mistakes and our denials and all the times we fall down and we rebuild our get up muscles. He uses those not to hinder us, but to give us credibility, to help others, to be a beacon of hope, a lighthouse. And that's where I realize God has put me in this position. We've sold 650 houses in 10 years. And I think the average agent, you can probably attest to this, is like 4 to 8
Yep.
homes a year. And so I was able in real estate to marry my love for being unique and creative and doing things differently and serving and loving people, and then being really action and goal and using key negotiating and marketing, to sell the houses for the most money and get the buyers the best deal. It was like this package that couldn't have been sealed with a more beautiful bow. And this is my life. And so became certified divorce real estate expert because I thought one of the darkest times in my life where I've grown the most from, I'm going to help other people walk through. It's like going through surgery without anesthesia, I feel like, for so many people. Selling the home is like selling their life. It's like selling their dream.
Yep.
It's so much more than selling a house.
So I want to go back to a few things you said. First of all, Oklahoma City, just so you know, folks, it is a place. It's actually dubbed one of the most romantic cities in the Midwest.
Yes.
You go to Bricktown, you want to treat your sweetie. It's inexpensive to go to OKC, and OKC is only 4 hours south of where I grew up. So I actually spent a lot of time going through Oak City on my way to Texas because all my family was from Nebraska to Texas. So do check it out. And Oklahoma is actually known for its creativity within arts and finance.
Yes. We have
And
the number one city for street art,
yes,
for
yes.
murals, and it's amazing.
So the reality is you didn't go to New York City; you brought it to you. There you go.
Right.
So
Yes.
you're in the New
That
York,
Sex in the
the
City
Midwest.
moment.
There
I
you
do it
go.
downtown OKC.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
But I want to talk about, so really, we want to garner some steps and actionable things for real estate agents, knowing that 67% of real estate agents are female and the average age is 52. And if we go back to 2021, National Association of Realtors stats showed the average real estate agent worked 35 hours a week and generated 12 transactions. So that's
Wow.
that's a lot of work for not a lot of return. Yet, as soon as they bumped up to 40 hours, their GCI, gross commission income, actually doubled. So their production actually doubled within literally 1/6 the time that they already put in. So my question to you would be, knowing that one of the practices that new agents, and if you are a newer agent and listening to this and you're sitting here, you're going through that imposter syndrome and I didn't come from this, I don't have that, so forth and so on. Denise just laid very, very clearly that real estate agents, we're here to serve, yet we're human and we all have a backstory. So it's going to be your choice how to position yourself. But one of the things that we always see, or we should, all new agents should do a sphere of influence, and we should be doing this every
And hold
year.
them tightly.
Update, yes. But one of the things they always talk about is your friends and family sphere. Now, I started in a market where I had just under 500 doors to serve. That's why the 500 doors is kind of my mantra. It was a new community. I had no friends and I had no family. I was new country, new city, new mom, new
Wow.
everything. And I just went at it. So give me, what are the spheres you think every new agent should sit down and start looking at within their local community to launch their business?
Well, no matter if you're new to a city or wherever, I mean, you can tap into old places you worked. I've done so many transactions with past places that I worked. I'm talking 10, 15 years ago that the beauty of social media is Facebook has allowed us to stay connected. And what I have used most massively has been Facebook, because I believe everyone has a story and we have to earn the right for people to share those stories. And so for us, we've just been able to use a really big mix in our social media. Most of it is we want people to feel like they're doing life with us. I add every one of our clients to our personal page because they're more than a transaction. That relationship transcends that transaction. So they are our friends. They're in our tribe. They're being invited to the client appreciation parties at Christmas time. My husband and I get dressed up and we do dance and dashes. So if we deliver you a little present on your porch, everyone has a Ring doorbell. Thank you, Jesus, because everybody gets this little performance that's recorded. So we just do things that kind of break the mold and make people feel special. Like when we have an appraisal that comes in, we get dressed up in our Spartan cheerleader outfits and we do an appraisal cheer to celebrate, because every step of a transaction for everyone is a big deal.
Yep.
And we want people to, this is their largest investment most times in their lives. And so we want to create pockets of joy, because it can be stressful too. They're trying to do all the checklists, pack all the boxes, their lender wants their blood. It's a lot of moving pieces. And so we want to create these moments that are memorable for them. So like even when we go to help someone buy a house, it's almost like I'm making a documentary. I'm documenting things, pictures, videos of their home searches. And when they find the home, the looks on their faces when, it's like the match made in heaven. Don't you feel like we're matchmakers too?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
really feel
Absolutely.
but doing things differently, stopping the scroll. So our social media is absolutely, we remind people what we do I don't post every open house. I'm not stuffing real estate down your throat in a way that you would think. I post unique houses, weird things we see. I post stories, the stories behind the clients. Someone that sold a house their parents' house they've had over 50 years, where they got engaged in the driveway. And I have them standing in the driveway, kind of reenacting that engagement. Things like that. Like tell a story, because that's what anchors with your viewers is telling the story. Think about how many realtors, if I have one more person say they want to be a realtor, it's like, follow me around for a month and then let's talk. They don't realize, they don't see the grit. They kind of just see the highlight and all this beauty.
Yeah. The client engagement, even though it's the most important, the client engagement is, are you any more? Oh, this is beautiful. Denise, not sure you could be any more authentic. Bravo. Beautiful message.
Oh my
That
gosh, I'm
is
going to
beautiful.
cry.
That is
Whoever said that,
beautiful.
thank you so much.
That
Goodness.
is Maura Shafto.
Thank you,
And
Maura. Really, truly, that just made my day.
Betty R says, cool.
Well, another thing that I think that is what we've done is I use the power. I learned from 1999. I went on Oprah Winfrey. I was having hormonal issues after I had my second child. And I said, who better to solve my problems than Oprah Winfrey? Because she was in my living room every day at 4 p.m. as a stay-at-home mom. So I like emotionally dumped this letter saying, I can't get my doctors to listen to me. They were telling me I have postpartum. I know I don't. I've experienced that before. And I pressed send. And 10 minutes later, maybe 15 minutes later, I had a call from a lead producer from the Oprah Winfrey Harpo Studios. And she said, we want you on the show. You're transparent, you're vulnerable. They sent me to get all these blood tests to see what was wrong with me, because we know our bodies better than anyone. And I couldn't get anyone to listen to me. And so I went to the show expecting to just kind of sit in the audience, and, Oprah they'll pan to you when she directs a question at you. I was like, this is no big deal. I'm just kind of melted in the audience. Well, about 10 minutes before the show started, she said, I want you on stage with me the entire show. And I'm like deer in the headlights, walking up to sit in the chair with her. She's doing sign language under her chair to change her mules, and standing up, unbuttoning her pants because she'd eaten too much for lunch. I mean, she's as real as it gets. And she looked at me and she said, you're sitting here because you're not afraid to be vulnerable and transparent. And what you're experiencing is going to impact millions of women that are walking this same walk. So I want you to lock eyes with me and pretend like we're sitting in my living room having a girl chat. Can you do that? And I said enthusiastically, yes. You ask, and Oprah asked you if you can do something, you say yes. And that was the moment in my life where I realized the power of storytelling and being vulnerable. My mother was embarrassed by this show because the show was titled Women Who Don't Want Sex. Well, it was about hormones. So of course that was a
Yeah.
a
And that's
kicker title, but it
and
was embarrassing to my mother.
you gotta love family. Again, that whole friends and family when you're building your sphere, they're out past work and
Yes.
such. Because sometimes our friends and family, they see us what we were 5 years ago,
Mhm.
3 years ago, 2 months ago.
Absolutely.
They don't see the evolution within. And sometimes you have to make those hard calls. It's not easy. I mean, I'm the eldest of 4 girls from uh, uh, an impoverished and challenging childhood,
Oh,
and, my path is different than my sister's, and at times you have to make the call, will I be the better person on where I want to go? So sometimes you have to mute
yes.
the conversation over here. So thank goodness you didn't ask your mother permission, because that first engagement on a national platform, it not a lot of people have the courage to reach out. And even for those that do reach out, they don't always get heard. And all of these things. So if you're listening, you're newer in real estate, or you're sitting here going, I can't get past 7 deals. Like, what is wrong with me? Go back to the sphere, go back to your
Mhm.
story, and find the people that actually are your clients. If I hear another real estate agent do this, these are two things that drive me crazy. When you ask them, who's your market? They go, everyone, everyone needs a house. Sorry, folks, not the answer. Not everyone will like you. I can promise you this because I get
Mhm.
email all the time going, seriously, you have a nose ring and pink hair and you think somebody wants to listen to you? Seriously, you think, I get those things, but trust me, that's not my audience. I don't care about those people. They can go sit in their whatever their beige world is, and I'm gonna keep going into my pink world. I'm happy with that. Second of all, go back to that sphere. Very, very much drill down. I'm only going to allow you 3 verticals. Find 3
Mhm.
verticals of the right people you're talking to, and then start weaving the story.
One thing we do on Facebook for our sphere specifically is my love language is words of affirmation and writing, expressing myself. Big surprise. And so every morning I get on Facebook and I'm looking for, I call it, I'm a good finder, but what I always find isn't good. Sometimes someone lost a family member, lost a pet, someone may have gotten a job promotion. Whatever it is, I sit down and I write my handwritten cards, which brings me a lot of reward and gratification. And at Christmas time, what I did for I made my top 100, because there's only so much craft time, in a day. And I printed a picture that I could find of the client, the family. They didn't have a family, if it was just them, their dog, but whatever it was, whatever I could find that they posted, I knew a picture that was special to them. I Mod Podged it on a really cute wood ornament. And that was the most pivotal action I've ever done, because people could tell that I took the time to pick out a picture that I thought was special to them. And then, I wrote on the back, doing things that are actually from your heart. I don't
Yep,
want anything in return. My Christmas card said nothing about being mean to a realtor. It's about my relationship with them and me
yep,
taking the time to try to make something with my own hands that's special. And so I think that realtors a lot of time miss the boat on that.
yep.
Just having coffee and asking people how they are. Don't go into any networking or any meeting whatsoever with, what are you going to give me?
Exactly.
See how you can build
Exactly.
other people's businesses and advocate for them.
Give 3, then receive. That should
Yes,
be literally the mantra in your head, and it may not be receiving from the 3 you've just given, but if you're
right.
constantly giving, then there creates this natural flow. I so there's a lot here to unpack in just this conversation. The reality is life is not easy, but boy,
No.
it's awesome if you literally celebrate the moments that make life worthwhile. And if you do that, and sometimes pick up this celebratory vibe for others who maybe are not in the position to celebrate.
Right, and allow failure to be your biggest educator, not
Yep.
your gravedigger. Like, I it's a choice every day to get
Yep.
up and, you can have a chip on your shoulder for the cards that you've been dealt, or you can choose that I'm gonna walk in joy and I'm gonna move forward, and a part of that is putting the work in for your self-healing.
That one of the coolest phrases I heard, and I can't remember, it was somewhere on, I think, Clubhouse 3 years ago, 2, 3 years ago, challenge, choice, and consequence. And it's interesting
Mhm.
because when I first went in and listened to this woman speak, who she is a educator who had lost her vision and her journey through that. So we can learn a lot through stories, as Denise is saying. But challenge, choice, and consequence, I thought I always related consequence to a negative outcome. But the reality is consequence is just the consequence. It's the sequence of what
Mhm.
happens after the choice is made
True.
based on the challenge you've been faced. And so that choice is the pivotal piece as to that sequence, because your challenge is your challenge is your challenge. If you're a real estate agent, my challenge is, we all hear it, leads,
Yeah.
consistency, and social media. Those are the 3 most common responses when real estate agents are asked what they can learn about or that are causing problems within their business. At the end of the day, though, it's not any of those. It's the choice with your time. It's the choice of how you show up. It is
And
the
the
choice of
commitment.
your message. Absolutely. It
Mhm.
is your choice. It's not the leads. It's not the consistency. Everybody says I have challenge with consistency. No, your challenge is prioritizing. Because if it
Absolutely.
was a priority, so myself, I could sit here and say I have challenge with consistency in my Instagram, but I can tell you truthfully is that it's not the thing that brings me joy. So Instagram is a part of the job. It's not a piece that brings me joy. This brings me joy. It's amazing how I can find 4 hours in a day for podcasting, and I can't. I choose not to find 40 minutes every day for social media. So find out what your choice is,
Mhm.
lean into what you're great at, find the supports that can help you offset the spaces of which is not a priority. Revisit your sphere of
Yes.
influence, listen into those who are willing to lead and share. These are like, this is literally everything. And don't expect the friends and family to throw your placard up on their garage. Go out and create your sphere. So, real
That's so
quick,
true.
if I had to ask you, um, if I had to ask you to rewrite the definition of community, what would your definition in Oxford's dictionary be for the word community?
Community is just everyone around us, around me, that in my community embraces me. I give permission to my community to pour into me constructively, to hold my feet to the fire, to be the first to celebrate my small victories, but also be the first to kneel and pray and be there with me in my struggles. So my tribe and my community is not just there to make me feel good, but I've learned in my life that I crave getting out of my comfort zone and I crave accountability. And for me, that's what my community is for me. And that's my clients and my family and friends.
Excellent. That would be a good definition. That would be a very good definition in Oxford. So let's go into book real quick. You've written a book. Share with us name of the book, where we can find it, and what readers can expect from your book.
So I wrote the book Out of the Box. You can find it on Amazon. And I wrote it to basically share unique marketing approaches that we've been able to use to exponentially grow. I talk about all kinds of marketing with social media. I break down a lot of the creative things that we've done, actionable steps that you can start today that are free. I also really focus in on how we can use press releases, human interest stories. Our communities want content. You don't have to, not everybody wants to be on TV, but if you do, message me because I have some tips and audition tips and things that you can do. But how we've been able to use the power of media and TV and speaking and teaching and coaching. We volunteer coach at colleges and high schools. We're not going there wanting anything in return. We're just trying to share and inspire and empower others. And it's so gratifying. And we've ended up getting referrals. But that's not why we do it. So at the end of the day, I've kind of moved from proving myself, which I felt that way for a long time, that I had to prove myself because I waited so long to start doing what I was meant to do in this life, to really being intentional. And my focus now is my book. I wanted to share that because I wanted people to step out of their comfort zones, whether they're going to start a business or whether they need to recharge and refresh the one that they have. And it's good and applicable for any business, not just real estate.
And I love that because it's real estate is really the business of people, and
It
that
is.
is business in general. So, Denise, for those stalkers, I mean, people who want to follow you, where can they find you? Tell us all your socials. Where can they find you, and what platform is your most comfortable to engage with?
Well, I've had a lot of business come from Facebook. Are all the old people on Facebook? Is that what it is? I don't know. So Facebook, it appears that we have a joint page. So it's Denise, then the letter N, Troy Schroder. I know that's a mouthful. You can find me on Instagram at Denise Sells Oklahoma. That's easier. So follow me there. Message me. We're also on TikTok. Troy in as in and Denise, Troy and Denise. We love doing funny. Let's rephrase that. I like doing really funny slapstick comedy stuff on TikTok, and I drag my husband into it. I bribe him daily. So we just really try to have a lot of fun, and you'll see from following me, one of the most things that we enjoy is laughter, is creating laughter, because you scroll and there's so much negativity in this world.
Yeah.
So, we just want to stop the scroll and tell stories
Yep.
and create laughter and really evoke emotion in people.
Just remember, folks, the scroll hole is designed for division because division results in advertising dollars for all the people who are getting what they want out of you. When you find a place like what Denise and Troy are offering, when you find a space that is inspiring, invigorating, and fun, spend a bit more time there, folks. Whether or not you're in Denise's market, I'm dying to find out the story on down the road about the tongs and the elf on a shelf, because this has got to be a good one. But folks, it is not about the destination, it is about the journey, and
Mhm.
the journey is the story. It is the movement through, and you are not the sum of yesterday's things that were heaped upon you or did not come to fruition. You are the sum of what you do today. You're present. That's why it's a gift. Be present. Be present, be positive, be considerate of others, share the story, and don't be afraid to share the real, because I am sure the real Denise gets far more engagement than the airbrushed, you know, uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. So pick up the book Out of the Box. It's on Amazon. We'll have that in our show notes. Um, Denise, I always collect quotes because my quotes go into my montages and everything. And I believe that how you start with affirmations, I like to
Mhm.
close with quotes because I believe that sometimes we need to borrow a quote from somebody to get us through a difficult situation or a day that's not going to be our favorite
Mhm.
day. What's your quote?
So mine is: a soul that carries empathy is a soul that has survived enormous pain. And that's how I live my life. That's where a lot of the passion and conviction comes for me, walking people through divorces and real estate. And my daughter had an eating disorder, so I've written content for that. And so the things I've experienced and come through, I just truly want to be a light and love for other people, to show that they can come through it too, and they can live their best life, and you're not defined by your mistakes. That's a long quote, and that's a
No, but
duplicate quotes.
that is very, very well put. Empathy is a very underutilized emotion in today's world.
Yeah, I agree.
And, you know, um, people matter. You matter. You matter. I promise you,
You
you matter.
matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, that is it for today. So get out there, revisit your spheres, be unique, tell a story, and be compassionate. Show empathy. And I promise it will come. It may take 7 months, but you're building a foundation the right way. Don't just go out and buy crap leads. Create and generate your community. Give support, and I promise in return you will receive support. So again, this is 500 Doors Real Estate Podcast. You can join us over on our Facebook group, Success Through 500 Doors. And, we would love to hear what you're doing to find success and serve your community, because that is what we're here for, to serve our communities, to build better communities, to be the change you want to see. Again, I'm Kim Hayden, and thank you for joining us at the 500 Doors Your Real Estate Podcast. Be sure to join our Facebook group at Real Estate Success with 500 Doors. Keep on watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know sharing is caring.